Welcome back to Murali's World of Physics. Popcorn is a very tasty and healthy snack which has good nutritional as well as fiber content also. Imagine that you are on the beach on a Sunday evening or maybe in a movie theater during the interval time. I am sure that most of you would rush to the popcorn vendor's counter, get a packet of popcorn, come back, sit and relax, eating the crunchy popcorn. Maybe with your dear and near ones. Hey wait, have you ever thought what makes the corn pop? Or what makes the sound of the popping of the corn? In order to understand these facts, it is necessary to have a look at the physics of the popcorn. In this video, I would like to discuss something about this particular aspect of physics. The corn, which is also known as the Indian corn or maize, is a cereal plant of the grass family Poaceae. The earliest records of growing of the corn date back to about 8,000 years ago in central Mexico. It was then a wild grass called teosinte. Very soon it spread to the whole of the North and South Americas. Later, in the 15th century, Columbus brought it to Europe. Of course, the European colonization naturally led to the spread of the plant to other parts of the whole world also. In fact, it was the Portuguese who introduced it in India in the 16th century. There are different varieties of corns which are grown in the different parts of the world. In fact, there are more than about 50 varieties. But these are generally divided into 5 major categories. That is the very common popcorn, then the sweet corn, flour corn, dent corn, and the flint corn. To being a tasty snack, the popcorn has tremendous nutritional content. Here I have listed the main nutrient content of a 100-gram serving of air-popped popcorn. Vitamin B, iron, magnesium, phosphorus, potassium, zinc, copper, and manganese. And this is the overall content of popcorn, again for a 100-gram serving. The energy content is about 382 kilocalories, then carbohydrate 70 grams, dietary fiber 12 grams, fat 4 grams, protein 12 grams, of course the vitamins which I mentioned earlier 3 milligrams, and the minerals 784 milligrams. The most important content in the popcorn as far as the popping process is concerned is the moisture content, which is about 15% by volume. Now let's have a look at the structure of a corn. On the outside we have a strong seed coat which is called the pericarp or the hull. So the entire body of the corn is inside this hull. Just inside the hull we have the endosperm. Then within that there is the starch portion, and finally deep inside we have the germ, which is actually the embryo or the baby plant, which actually grows into the plant when the corn germinates and grows. Now there are tiny drops of water throughout the volume of the corn in the form of moisture. The starch is actually the food for the baby plant later. When the corn pops, in fact this starch becomes the fluffy and tasty part of the popcorn.
We will now look at the different factors affecting the popping procedure. The most important one is, of course, the water content itself. The amount of moisture in the kernel is critical. Too little moisture content means that there is not enough steam to build up the required pressure to break the outer hull. And on the other hand, too much of the moisture content, the kernel wall will melt and ruptures before the pressure climbs high enough to puff out the starch. The optimum value for the best performance has been found to be about 15% by volume. The next factor affecting the popping is the rate of supply of heat to the corn. Too slow a heating will result in the steam escaping out of the tender tip of the corn. As a result, the corn will not pop at all. On the other extreme, if we have too fast a supply of heat to the corn will pop, but the starch will not get sufficient time to gelatinize and form the fluffy stuff. So we get a hard popcorn. Now the strength of the outer hull of the corn is also very important. The hull should be strong enough to hold on to the high pressures up to the point of popping. But it should not be so strong that it never breaks. It has been found that a hull in which the molecules are structured in an orderly fashion will give a better popping performance. The type of starch present in the corn is also important. The starch needs to be soft enough to expand into the beautiful fluffy consistency. However, it should also be hard enough to hold on to its shape. So these are some of the parameters which affect the performance of the popping process. What exactly do we mean when we say popping of the corn? The dictionary meaning as it goes is to burst open with an explosive sound. In the case of the popcorn, it means much more than that, something extra also. The popping transforms the corn into a soft and fluffy but crunchy and more palatable form. Do all corns pop? Not at all. It is only the variety that we usually call the popcorn that pops well and gives us the crunchy and tasty stuff that we so much relish. The popping process involves the supply of heat to the corn by a suitable means. As the popcorn is heated, water and traces of oil present inside get heated up and soften the surrounding starch. The outer shell, that is the hull, is usually so tough that the water can't escape when it initially boils into steam. As the steam gets even hotter, the water molecules move faster and faster and the inside pressure builds up. The pericap or hull holds this pressure up to some point. When a limit is reached, it explodes. The steam rapidly escapes through the starch, creating a puffy form that gets cooked as the steam passes through. The sudden expansion of the steam causes the cooling of the starch. We are left with a crunchy, fluffy and tasty snack. In contrast to popping, puffing, although a similar process, it differs in that it is a process of controlled expansion of the kernel of the corn. The vapor escapes through the micro pores of the grain structure due to the high pressure and the thermal gradients. Both these processes impart acceptable taste and a desirable aroma to the snacks.
We will now watch in slow motion the popping process. At the same time, we will also watch the pressure and temperature variations inside the corn as a function of time. There are various methods for popping of the corn. Out of these, 3 are the most important ones, and they are as follows. The first one is the stove top method. For this, a large pot with some type of lid is used. In this, a few tablespoonfuls of oil is poured, and the corns are taken in that. Then the pot is heated on the stove, shaking in between to provide even heating. The oil helps in uniform heating with added flavor. The second is the microwave method. Here the heat is supplied using a microwave oven. The corns are taken in a microwavable bowl with a lid, and then for the required time the microwave heating is applied. The third one is what is known as using air poppers. Here hot air pops the kernels, and a fan blows the popcorn out of the machine and into a bowl. Here no shaking or stirring is required. The popping process is really a random one, very similar to the radioactive decay of atoms and nuclei. We really can't predict which particular corn will pop at a particular time, or concentrating on a particular corn, we cannot predict when exactly that is going to pop. In controlled experiments, Baird and Perona found that the number of kernels remaining unpopped after time t is described by the equation n of k is equal to n0 e raised to minus kt, where n0 is the number of unpopped kernels initially, and the k is a can be called the decay constant, which actually determines the rate of decay. Before concluding, let me mention that there are other grains also which can be popped. For example, rice can be popped. Popped paddy is called malar in the Malayalam colloquial language. It's a very common breakfast and snack item, especially in Kerala. I will end this video here. This is Professor Muralidhara Warrior signing off from Murali's World of Physics. I will be back with yet another video on one more facet of physics. Till then, goodbye.